How do you make the sale of your home a less stressful experience? I'm going to share 5 tips with you today. Tip number 1 is start with a plan. You need to know, what is your time frame for selling? What kind of numbers are you looking at? What do you need to do to get your home ready to sell? What are your financial goals in this whole situation? Knowing where you're going to end up and seeing the path from start to finish is definitely going to help it be a less stressful experience. So when I go on a listing appointment and we're talking about, okay, this is what you need to do, you tell me what time frame you need to get these things done. Then we can get a photographer out. Then we're going on the market. We're walking through the entire process from listing the home, going through the home inspection, going to the closing table. And that helps people because most people, we fear the unknown. If you've never sold a house before, then you don't know what to expect. So you need to make sure that you talk to your agent and have a plan for where you want this to go, because you can't achieve a goal if you don't have a goal. Tip number 2, you want to make sure you choose the right agent. So if you're asking questions at a listing consultation and your agent keeps putting you off, oh, we'll deal with that when the time comes. We'll deal with that when the time comes. That's not going to be the agent you want to work with. You want someone who's going to walk you through the process and be proactive with you so that you do know what to expect as the deal progresses down the line. Tip number 3, you want to price your home correctly. Nothing is more stressful to a seller than to put their home on the market and hear crickets for 2 to 3 weeks. That is the most stressful thing of all, because now you know we've overpriced. Now we know we're going to have to step back and re-strategize. So make sure that you take your realtor's advice, you price your home correctly for the market. Tip number 4 is prepare for showings. So when we come in to take photographs of the house, most of the time I give my sellers a checklist so that they can, okay, yep, I got that ready, got that ready, I got that ready. I guess as an agent, we assume that the sellers will carry that over into, okay, we're getting ready to have a showing today, this is what we need to do. And some sellers don't. People go in to look at the house and the beds aren't made, there's dishes piled up in the sink. The house isn't show ready, as we would call it. So make sure when your agent communicates with you that you have a showing, that your house is ready to be shown. If you still live in the house and you have a job, make sure that you pick up your home every morning before you go to work. If you have kids, get them involved in the process. One thing that I like to do when I list a house that has smaller children living in the home, I like to enlist their help to get the house sold. And so I will actually sign an agreement with the children, and I will give them 2 or 3 tasks that, hey, when mom and dad tells you we have a showing, these are your responsibilities. Usually it's going to be, make sure my clothes are hung up in my closet, make sure my toys are put away, make sure my bed is made. Very simple chores that most children of any age would be able to do. And I tell them, if your mom and dad agree that you did these things to help prepare for the showings, once we get the home sold, I will give you, and usually it's $50. When you're 7, 8 years old, $50 is like $1 million. And parents have really loved that idea. They thank me when we go to closing because they're like, oh, it was so easy to get the kids involved and get them to keep their room picked up. That's a strategy that I use to help get the children involved in this process, but you always want to make sure your home is ready for any showing because you never know when the right buyer is going to come through. Tip number 5 is stay emotionally detached. And that is so hard sometimes, especially if you are looking to downsize and you have raised a family in this house and you have all kinds of memories of your children growing up or family dinners or whatever the case may be. But you have to remain emotionally detached. This is a business transaction. Getting hung up over what you feel like is a lowball offer can sometimes cost you a buyer. Recently, I had an offer that came in and it was 50 or 75,000 below our list price. And my seller was very offended at first. They didn't want to even counter. They were being ridiculous. I'm not doing this. Everybody wants a deal, right? Let's look at where we can end up rather than where they started. I said, I don't care if you counter for $1,000 less than what we're listed at, but send them a counter. Put the ball back in their court. If they are serious buyers, they will up their offer. So that's what we did. We sent them a counter offer, and guess what? The buyers did come up. We were able to come to a mutual agreement. Now, I will say this, if you're on the buy side, sometimes when you submit a low offer because you want to get a deal, you're going to make a seller mad and they're not going to want to work a deal with you, period. So that's why I try to tell my sellers, let's stay emotionally detached. Let me carry the stress and the emotion for you so that you can make good decisions based on what's going to help you achieve your real estate goals.